from Peculiar Sanctuary with us this evening. It's a really special treat, and this is part of Thrive Tuesdays, which will be every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. I wanted to bring something very special to you this Tuesday. This past weekend in our area, we were actually under a possible Cat 5 hurricane coming towards us. And it kind of made me see how a storm can really throw our lives, our family, our routines, and kind of wreak havoc in our everyday life, right? So we had to go and drive 3 hours to go get our daughter and evacuate her from school. We had to go buy supplies that we don't normally carry in our house. You know, it could have financial burdens because of the storm and all these different things that happen. Then when you look at the Bahamas and what's occurred in the Bahamas, some of these people have no home, right? So all these storms can happen to any of us, whether it's sickness, financial burdens, relationships, divorces, all these different things and all these storms in our lives. And sometimes it's just how we handle the storms and how we cope with the storms. And I know going through an accidental Benadryl overdose after a car accident, a facility accidentally overdosed me. And we had a financial burden, over $200,000 in debt, in medical debt, and all these things that occurred. And not only that, but things that I was able to do, could do at one time and could no longer do, right? So you don't realize how some of these things affect your everyday life. And really what I wanted to bring to you today is Carlos and Chantel, because they're absolutely amazing at what they've been able to overcome and how they've created sanctuary in their home and have helped other people create a sanctuary in their home through these storms. So I want to tell you a little bit about Carlos and Chantel. They bring a practical approach to identifying and shifting the family dynamic through the application of systems that brought their own blended family from broken to flourishing. With history of abandonment, divorce, single parenting, sexual abuse, addiction, suicidal thoughts, homelessness, rejection, business failure, broken family relationships, all prior to their own union. Carlos and Chantel knew that they had to flip the script and knew that in order to flip the script, they had to do things radically different than how they were programmed by their past. They developed a unique template using the skills and strategies they implemented at home with themselves and their two children, as well with the many people that have experienced them firsthand while staying in the Campos home. These strategies created much of the foundation of their approach in working with individuals, marriages, families, as well as with businesses. And their goal is to see you succeed, to see you find the freedom to reach your full potential, and to impart some healthy channels to navigate the roadblocks, uproot our old belief systems, and to bring harmony to your relationships. So really, thank you guys so much for being here today. And your results are astronomical in the results that you get for just not only your family, but for other families that have attended Peculiar Sanctuary and have been in your home. Not only that, but what you provide when we go to see our coach and get our personal development. So thank you for everything that you guys do, and thank you for tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, Francine.
So amazing.
It's so good to be here.
Your story is truly amazing, what you have done to be a champion in life and to push through. And, you know, I think that's the question was about storms of life. How do we deal with storms of life? How do we create a sanctuary when there are literal storms of life in our life? And I think probably the one way to start the answer of this, it's a long answer, but it's really based on what kind of environment and atmosphere can we create? Because we carry that with us. We are the environment creators. We are the atmosphere creators. And as we talk about our approach to creating a sanctuary, it's amazing because we liken it to a greenhouse. Now, with the technology that we have and the smarts of science and you know, if you have the opportunity, go look up Biosphere 2 on your computer, on your phone. Go look at it and see. It's a big, huge greenhouse in Tucson, Arizona. Well, kind of in between Tucson and Phoenix, but an amazing thing that was developed for the reason of seeing if we could live on Mars, essentially. That was the first initial thing. And so they wanted to create an atmosphere that would survive in the midst of everything else outside having such chaos. And right, Mars is not able to sustain our life, but what if we could create a big, huge biosphere too? Biosphere 1, just so you understand, is the planet Earth itself. So what if we could create another atmosphere, another environment under a roof? And so this is amazing because we actually have been to it. I've been to it a couple times. We took some people at our last retreat that was in Phoenix, Arizona. We took some people to the Biosphere 2.
We did a field trip.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a great confirmation of what we're talking about doing in your home. Because what we do is not normal. People don't understand it and they're like, what? This doesn't make sense, but it really does. And again, do we face things and issues in our problem? Yes, we were destined to fail based on the fact that we come from broken relationships. We come from parents that have been divorced. My mom's been divorced multiple times. Chantel's mother went through a divorce. Yeah. And so again, you know, and plus we have a blended family in the sense of stepchildren, quote unquote, right? And then both of our children have different fathers that are still alive, and one of the fathers been in and out of prison. So, and plus interracial mixture. I'm half Mexican. She's full German. Her kids are half black. So you start seeing all the combinations, right?
Yeah.
We're not supposed to succeed according to statistics. And coming into this, we both wanted a better way. We both knew there must be a better way than what we had experienced. I've been through a divorce. Chantel has been obvious in a couple of relationships as well, because both of her children have different dads. And so coming into this, so we said there must be a better way. And so looking at the understanding of creating an environment, what is it? Well, in the natural, what does it look like? How do we create a greenhouse? Like everyone, you know, you can take a greenhouse now and plant it in the middle of the desert of Tucson where it's like 120 degrees, and you can go in there and you're freaking out. You're like, wait, this doesn't seem natural. I just walked out of this crazy, super hot environment and atmosphere into a tropical forest. How can that be?
With an ocean and moisture and tropical plants growing everywhere.
Yes, I mean, it's literally like the rainforest in the middle of 120 degree weather.
Wow.
And it's crazy because how do they do it? Technology of a greenhouse. We put glass up, right? We control the environment. We control the temperature. We control the moisture. We control the pH of the soil. All the different things that we do to create an incredible atmosphere. What's so amazing about this, again, you know, you don't have to be believers to understand this, but just look at that good book. You go back to the Bible or the Word and the Torah and look at those ancient scrolls, and they talk about this garden, right? This Garden of Eden, that there wasn't all these thorns and thistles. There was an amazing, incredible atmosphere of perfection with lots of fruit, lots of abundance. How they took care of that amazing place was by picking the fruit and pruning it and enjoying the abundance. So if they could do it then, and they had some sort of template, whether you believe in God or not, or whether it was God that did this, the reality of it is it was a template to understand what it could be like having that perfect atmosphere. And so then what does it look like? Because we know we can create that now with a greenhouse. You can also, not only in the desert, but you can plant a greenhouse in the middle of Antarctica, where it's freezing cold, where nothing should grow. And you can have the atmosphere controlled under that roof of that greenhouse. Such crazy technology. I gotta share this. So these lights, LED lights now, they program. Why is there so much technology? Because of CBD, oils, and all that stuff. It's such a multi-billion-dollar market. So they have these LED lights that literally mimic the sun. On a timer, they move and they actually mimic the sun, move through the building, and create an amazing atmosphere with the sun moving throughout. So the light too is also going throughout the building on a timer, just like the sun would do. So it's amazing. So they control the humidity, the moisture, right? All these things. And what do they get? The results are they get incredible garden. They get amazing fruit year round. They get amazing vegetables year round. Why do I take the time to explain that stuff? Because it's so important to really, really understand if it can be done in nature like that, it has to be able to be done in our homes. What can we do to do that in our homes? How can we create the atmosphere? If you go study people and go study things about relationships, go study things about homes, what is the main thing? The environment, the atmosphere that you grow up. That influences your whole life. That influences your identity. So it's been so crazy as we've tested this out now for almost 9 years. Over 9 years now that we've been doing this. And we're like, what could be the results? Well, we've gotten the results back. We've helped hundreds and hundreds and hopefully by now thousands of families as we duplicate and get the word out. And it's simple. It's a process just like you would in a greenhouse, creating that atmosphere. You got to do certain things, create it. And we've done it and gotten lots of results in families and our own family. It had to start with us. You know, we had to prove that it could work. Could we truly have peace and harmony in our home all the time? Could we truly have children that would thrive and walk in this abundance? Do we face challenges? Yes. And that was the original question. Storms of life. What do you do in storms of life? What do you do if a sickness hits your home? What do you do if natural disaster hits your home?
What kind of plan do you have?
That's right. What is the plan? Do you have a plan? What is your response? What's your default? Because when we're in our darkest moments, when we're in our hardest times, that's when we go to our default. But guess where your default gets created? In those routines. Every day, every day. Because we have to create a habit that will create that default when we're faced with trials and tribulations, when we're faced with the storms of life, that cause us to go to a default that speaks life, that causes us to go to a default that would actually look at the glass as half full instead of half empty. We go, oh my gosh, what a blessing because of this and this. We begin to look through different lenses. But how do we create those lenses? It's our habits. It's our routines. It's the things we do every day that matter. What you read influences what you see. What you listen to influences what you hear. And what you see and hear influences what you speak. So if you want to be in control of that, you might want to start your days with things that speak life, with things that represent life and honor and blessing. And we have some routines that we have taught many, and we want the word to get out. We're like, we want everyone to do this. We call them GWs. Everyone's like, GWs.
Yeah, like, what is a GW?
Exactly. What's a GW? Gratitudes and words. You know, again, if you pay attention to things in the world, and you like that success book, I believe one of the greatest success books ever written, the Bible, awesome. Or if you just pay attention to personal growth and development stuff, you pay attention to billionaires. I wrote a billionaire profile, studied several billionaires and wrote a profile of all the things I saw in common with billionaires. And do you know what they had? One of the things they had in common, they were all grateful for where they had come from, all grateful for where they were going, and all grateful for what they had been and done, and were always in the state of gratitude. They always had an attitude of gratitude, which an attitude of gratitude is much different than just being grateful. I can be grateful on Thanksgiving, I can be grateful on, Christmas, but the reality of it is do I have an attitude of gratitude? Because we're either going to have gratitude or entitlement.
One or the other.
Yeah, if you do an audit of a situation, when you are in that darkness, when you are in that place, that storm of life, what state are you in? Are you grateful for the things in your life and grateful for the fact that you still have your life, right? Because if you're talking and you're a part of this and you're like, and you still have family members, right? You'd be grateful for that which you have and not being like, it's not fair, right? That as soon as you say it's not fair, you just entered into entitlement.
That's right.
You know, and so it's crazy to see that. But again, you won't know that you're in entitlement unless you saturate with gratitude. Unless you saturate with what the things you're grateful for. And how do you do that? GWs, man, gratitude and worthies, because you're doing them every day. So you're writing down what you're grateful for about someone in your family. Maybe you have a spouse or a child, or if you have both, awesome. If you have children and a spouse, then you tell them every day you're grateful for their strengths. You're grateful for the things they're interested in. You're grateful for the skills they possess. You're grateful for how beautiful they are and how gorgeous they are and how handsome they are and how strong they are. Right? All these skills they possess and all these things are, maybe it's a skill you'd like them to possess, like being kind and considerate. Well, call them forward by gratitude. Don't complain that they don't have it. Speak life into it, because that which you speak, you feed life into.
Grateful for when they're on time and
yes,
communicating, right?
Yeah.
So this is what's so crazy, because we don't know how to speak this language. And if you go back to that garden we were talking about, we struggle with it because of the tree that we chose. Whether you believe in that stuff or not is not the point. The point is, it's that way back in time, back then, we know historically they chose a tree that was about right and wrong, about good and evil. So we tend to always want to look for what's right and wrong in situations instead of choosing life. If you haven't heard this before, again, it's just a good principle. There was another tree in that garden. There was two trees. People forget to talk about the other one, the tree of life. So choose life today. How do you choose it? Practice, 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 practice. You're not going to become a good basketball player by dribbling and passing once a month. And no NBA player would ever just practice once a month and then go out on the court and play. That's the same thing here. So why can't we understand? In order to get good at speaking life, we must do it daily. We must practice, practice, practice. So we need to speak our gratitudes, and gratitude is literally, what do you appreciate about that person in your life? Maybe it is a friend, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a child, maybe you're a single parent. I don't know your situation. Maybe you just went through hell and you just lost everything. I get it. I've had that. Maybe you're depressed. Maybe you're sitting here going like, this guy has no idea. He has no clue what I've been through. Maybe I do. I lost my father at one point, one of my best friends. I lost my spouse to a divorce and my children. I remember sitting in that house thinking, you know how easy it would be to pull my car into the garage, roll the windows down, put the garage door down, and just go to sleep. How do I know that? I had a friend that did it. So that was my thought, because I'm all by myself. I have no future. I have nothing. Why continue to live? There's no future. So what's crazy is that I understand. But if you right now would take and just write down some of the things you're grateful for. You have your life. You're watching this, so you must be alive. You have breath in you. Be grateful for that which you have. Be grateful for the relationships you have in your life, the roof over your head, the food. And maybe you don't have a roof, right? We're talking about storms of life. Maybe you went through a hurricane, but are you still alive? You still have some of your family still alive. There are things we will truly do an audit of everything in our life we have and be grateful for it. There's a video I once watched, and it's so powerful, the gratitude experiment. They did an experiment on the benefits of gratitude. They have research from USC now and UCLA, an incredible university, Yale, Harvard, all on gratitude. Go look it up. That the benefits of gratitude. But we talk about the benefits, but what are we doing with it? So that's why sanctuary is so important, and understanding GWs. It's a daily routine. It's a daily practice, man.
It's our foundation.
That's right. We've got to connect spiritually. There's so many things that we do. And again, we want the word to get out. We want everyone to know how simple this is. It's a simple process of daily being grateful and daily journaling. Why do we journal? Well, because partly sometimes we're stuck. We need to get something flowing out of us. And we encourage people to create the atmosphere. A lot of times we first have to release all the junk that's in us. I remember when I first started this, when I was depressed and going through a divorce, and I wrote 3 pages, full pages, 3 times a day, just like a meal, of all the junk I was going through, all the anger, all the frustration, all the hate, all the pain. So I agree that that's real and that's in you. So if you're going through a catastrophic thing, maybe you're depressed, maybe you're lonely, I agree, get rid of it. But don't plant those seeds in everyone around you. Those are seeds. Your words are seeds.
Yeah.
Don't talk about all the things that are wrong. People know, they can see it. Write it down. Write down the pain, the hurt, the frustrations. Get you a journal or a notepad and put all that garbage on paper. And then switch it, because you'll get about 3 pages in, 9 pages for the day. And hopefully, as it did for me, I won't say it's right away. It's had a lot of anger and bitterness. But if you'll keep doing it, I promise your well of bitterness will run dry. And guess what comes up out of that? Fountains of living water. Fountains of living water follow. The dark, murky garbage will get out of there. The sludge will be gone. And eventually, will turn to life. You can then begin to speak life. You can begin to talk about what you're grateful for once you've gotten rid of the bitterness and the frustration, the anger. But don't speak it to people. They don't want to hear that either. They don't need that. It'll get them down and dreary and frustrated. If you believe in God, speak it to God. Yell at him. He can take it, I promise. He even tells us that. Through his book, he says, cast all your cares on me, give it to me. Not your spouse, not your children, not your best friend. They don't need that heaviness either, because words are seed. And you don't need to plant that darkness in them, that frustration in them. Put it on the paper and crumple it up, or like I did for a while, I carried it around with me for months and months. I don't know why. I found I'm like, what did I do? I was carrying a file around with me, my frustration file. And then when I discovered it, I threw it away. And then I saw too how it transitioned. There were gratitudes. There was blessings.
Sometimes that's the start. Sometimes it has to be yuck before it can transition.
Especially in the storms. You may have more journaling to do. That's when we work with clients, when we work with people, we tell them, look, don't go complain to your husband or your wife. Go journal. Go write it out. Release it. And then we love to encourage people then, if they do enjoy reading the Bible, or they do enjoy reading that, to allow it to flow back into them. Like receive a message. Because I truly believe that if you'll write a letter, we call it writing a letter and journaling and releasing, then ask questions in that letter too. And then go read it and allow that letter from that greatest success book ever to be written back to you, to come back into you. Because I promise you, when you go look and open that up, you're going to see some powerful words of life being spoken into you. Words of encouragement and edification. So that's why we enjoy that as well, encouraging people to go do that as a process and as a habit, as a routine. And then the next step is the gratitudes and worthies, literally writing those out. Putting for me, it's God at the top of the paper. And then second is Carlos. And then third is Chantel, my spouse. Then fourth is my children, oldest to youngest. Everything has purpose. Because again, in the olden days, that's how they honored their children, was the oldest to the youngest through birthright. So we believe in that, and truly honoring God, honoring self, right? And then honoring spouse and honoring children, oldest to youngest, in speaking life over them. What are you grateful for about them? Like I said, their skills, their talents, what they are, their strengths are, what they're good at. Encourage that. Encourage them to be more excellent, more efficient, loving, kindness, honoring, What is it that you're feeding? Because what you feed will flourish. Tell them all the good things they're doing, not all the things that they're not doing. Do the opposite. Speak life into what you would like to see them do to level up or to raise their standards. Speak into that. Notice the difference. And that's the gratitudes. And then the worthies are literally to God, it's, hey, you're worthy of more of my time or more of me learning about you or gaining wisdom from you, right? These are examples of my obedience. And then I am worthy of my goals, my needs, like the goals to be able to give more money away to the homeless, the widows, the orphans, right? My goal to have $1 billion corporation, right? So we can give more money away and help more people. My goal to eradicate divorce. I am worthy of that. And speaking those words are important because so many of us can't even believe, receive, or achieve those things. And that's the order. We must first believe it. So when we believe it, we'll begin to speak it. And then we've got to receive it. And then once we receive it, it'll be proven by our actions. And then our actions will come the achievement of it after time. And so again, when we haven't gotten the results, it's probably because we haven't received it. We might believe it for someone else. I believe, oh, they're good. I believe they're going to be wealthy. I believe they're going to be healthy. But for me, you know, I don't receive it yet. And again, your actions prove what you receive, what you believe, and you will achieve. And so I need to say I am worthy to begin to that process. The words are seed. To begin the process of helping me believe. Begin the process of helping me to receive so that I might achieve. So that's why words are so important. And saying I am was probably one of the most challenging things when we graduated. We were saying, you're worthy. But when I said I am worthy, it was like, wait, am I supposed to say that? Am I allowed to say that? Like, oh, my hair stood. Wait, does that sound right? Is that okay? Of course it's okay. You're supposed to edify and lift each other up, but also you're supposed to love yourself well. Because you can't love others more than you love yourself. So if you don't love yourself, you're not going to love others very well. So it's important that we do that. And even when we do the worthies and gratitudes, we say, Carlos. I say my name. It's important that we hear our own name when we speak it to Carlos. You are worthy of having duplication, scalability in your corporation. Carlos, you are worthy of reconnecting with your children from your previous marriage. You are worthy of a relationship with your children and your grandchildren. Carlos, you're worthy. It's important that I hear myself say that. Yeah. And I'm telling you, when people do this, they are sobbing most of the time when we go through these gratitudes and worthies. And a lot of times they can't speak it in the beginning. It's just so uncomfortable, so strange, right? So imagine what a world would be like as you're doing this every day. So worthies, next, it's my spouse, Chantel. You are worthy of her goals, her needs, right? The things she desires, her dreams, her visions. She is worthy of those things. How powerful. The results, we spoke it over our children for 9.5 years now. Speaking what they are worthy of. The results, our son did end up becoming a professional athlete. Like we can now say it works. Like every day. I will tell you, and people will be like, well, wait, that can't be real. It is very real. We navigated back and forth to each different professional, like we thought, okay, is he going to do football? Is he going to do basketball? Is he going to do surfing? Like, what is it? Like, we navigated with him, but we always knew one thing that was consistent. You will be a professional athlete. You are worthy. And when he was playing basketball, guess what we said? You're worthy of being a professional basketball player. And when he was playing football, you're worthy of being a professional football player. He just ended up in rugby. And that's where his heart lies. And he stayed and got there and became, all-star and part of the USA team. So it's powerful to see that come to pass. Yes, high school All-American, and then become a professional athlete for the Denver Raptors. And so it's powerful to see that come to pass. Same with our daughter. We can tell you story after story of her because of speaking it over her, that she's worthy of singing and dancing on stages all over the world. She's our artistic daughter. So the results there is we speak worthies over her as well. Her goals, her desires, right? Recently, she started her own business. She had a desire to do it. Don't force it. Don't make her do it. We just support her and speak it over her. You're worthy of having keto cupcakes, nationwide cupcake company. And guess what? She began the process. She launched the company. She's making sales at age 11.
Kicking.
I don't know. All I know is it works. GWs work. Journaling works. Speaking that over each other on a regular basis, daily, and going through the process of writing it down. And then don't forget, after you've spoken the gratitudes and worthies over your spouse, over your children, each one, when you say it to them, the GWs, they say, thank you, I received that. So important. So important, because we can sit there and listen, yeah. We've had people that couldn't say it because they're too busy crying, you know. And I will remember sitting in church one time. I always tell this story because it's just right. And sitting in church, and the lady, an older lady, stands up and she says, "My son just became a pastor of another church." She's crying. "Oh my goodness! He had me come when he preached, and he stood up and he told everybody how grateful he was for me as a mother." And she's crying. You know, this is the first time I've ever heard him say that he was grateful for me as a mother. And you think, you know, everyone's clapping and cheering, and I'm like, inside, I'm torn up. Like, I can't believe it. We're in church. We're sitting in a religious organization in a church where they believe in this book that says to speak life, that says to edify, that says to be grateful and honoring and blessing in all things. I just show you hundreds and hundreds of verses in that book that say to be grateful and to speak life and edify. And yet, this is the first time a pastor, it's not to put down that pastor, it's just showing how real this is and how little gets done in life. And even in the greatest churches in the world, they're raising up churches and raising up people in their church and missionaries and going out and do all this, but yet, what's happening in their home?
Yep.
If we can, like a greenhouse, if we can create the fruit in our home, guess what? Our children will go out and they will live it, not just speak it. They will live it. They will walk it out. They'll get the results in their life in every area. Why? Because they have been filled with love and honor and blessing. They've been spoken over. And then don't get me wrong, it takes action. Like, I don't sit here and say, I'm worthy of a six-pack and then go eat, donuts every day and sit on my butt in front of the TV. Hello? I say I'm worthy of a six-pack and then I get my booty out of bed every morning and I'm at the gym at 5 a.m. every single weekday, practicing discipline. But see, I may not even have the courage or the strength or the ability or the belief to go do that had I not said that about myself and had my family say it to me as well. Right. I may just think, well, it's easier just to get up at 7 and do our routines and go to work by 8. Oh, well. No, but I've chosen a better way, chosen to take action in all areas. We call it feldspar, and that's a whole other thing, but it's an acronym that talks about the 8 areas of our life that we should be having goals in and going after and achieving new levels in life. And these are things that help point us in the direction so that it makes sense for us to do what? GWs. It makes sense for us to do sanctuary routines every day.
Every day.
Journaling, we've been doing it for so many years. And you know what? It's so funny. People come through our retreats, and then they think, well, do we always have to do this? I said, you don't always have to do anything. You get to create an amazing environment. You having trouble with your children? You having trouble with their attitudes and their actions and their discipline? And you're like, what's wrong with my children? All these things are symptoms of the lack of peace in that home. All these things are symptoms of the lack of a voice of that child, because you're not letting them speak life in the mornings. You're not letting them express themselves in gratitude and letting them be a vessel of life and honor to help flow that through them, streams of living water, not a stagnant pond. And so a lot of kids don't have words, don't have voices. You know, we work with couples and people all the time that when they were a child, they were told to shut up. They were told, don't say anything, go sit in the corner, I don't want to hear from you, right? And so then
children are to be seen and not heard.
That's right.
Right.
So anyways, that's a long explanation of what to do. But the reality of it is then the results of that, I'm serious. You know, we had a season in our life where we were living on the side of a house with a friend, staying in a camper trailer, and our son was in a tent in the backyard temporarily while we were moving to a new place. Guess what? We made the best of it. We could have been like, oh my gosh, we're perfectly homeless, or it was an adventure, right? It's all in the way we look at it. But we would have looked at it as chaos and frustration and anger had we not had the tools. Had we not been doing gratitudes and worthies over and over, right? We're programming. We're creating filters of life, filters of love, filters of honor that cause us, when we look through those filters, we're like, what do we see? We see life and honor and blessing because that's what's programmed in us. And that's what creates an awesome relationship and connection with my bride here, my queen, with my children. And that's what creates the words to say that in situations where maybe we need to correct our children, we have the words to say that will actually honor them and edify them to do the best thing in life, to do the right thing, instead of criticizing them and condemning them for doing the wrong thing. It's a totally different way of speaking, but it is the sanctuary language. And it is what you learn when you do GWs over and journaling over and over and getting that word and from Papa God and learning and growing and continuing to plug in and continuing to get better than your last best.
It's I just wanted to kind of add, because one of the reasons why I wanted to do this is, y'all, I've been around Carlos and Chantel. I've met their beautiful 11-year-old daughter. I've seen the way their family is together, and the community that we're around when we get our training is like nothing you've ever experienced. But when I got diagnosed with that stage 3 breast cancer, okay, my relationship with my daughter was horrendous. We butt heads. There was friction all day long. My husband and I were like roommates, you know, and we've learned GWs and things like this and put it in place. And you know what? One day, you know, maybe something happens and you don't do it. Pick yourself up the next day and keep going. Because if you don't do this and you're faced with cancer or a storm in your life, that's when you're like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this? You know, because those are the times when you realize what's most important, right? That's when things are most important, is when there's that storm in your life. Who do you want? You want your husband, your wife, your mom, your dad. These are the people that you want in your life. You don't care about the house, the big house, the cars, the this, and all these crazy outside things, right? So when you talk about that greenhouse, it really is about protecting and creating that environment to thrive.
I think that's a key word that you just used, is protecting. I think a lot of times we, you know, get subject to the winds, right? The change in the atmosphere, the whatever, the influence, somebody who comes in and speaks different words, planting different seeds, right? So if you have a plan for your family, if you have a plan and a structure in place that you're in unity and harmony of what you want to create and what you want to have and to hold, then you have to protect it. Mm-hmm. It's key. It's absolutely 100% a huge key in succeeding with a sanctuary, right?
Yeah.
A place that is a refuge, that is safe, that is a place where life and love is overflowing, a place where it's safe to dream and have crazy, outlandish dreams that maybe nobody in the whole world understands. But guess what? It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Because you're part of an environment that feeds and flourishes those dreams, that feeds them, that nourishes them, that pours sunlight and water and all the nutrients that you need.
Yes.
It's life-giving. You know, that doesn't mean that we're perfect. That means, guess what? We fall down.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we have tools.
That's right.
And we just reach for those tools.
That's right.
We bring them in and we move through whatever that challenge is. We move through whatever storm hits because we know what's on the other side. We know that as a unit, as a family, we have the power.
It's awesome.
It's not up to anybody else but us.
I'll tell you, the more you do it, too, the more sensitive you are then to the environment, the atmosphere, right? If you think about professionals in that world of greenhouse and how after years and years and years of doing it, they begin to understand the change in the atmosphere, the change in the pressure. Right? That's the same thing. Like we can sense, like, oh, I'll be like, oh, babe, how you doing? I'll just, walk in the room. I'm like, I'm sensing there's a lack of peace going on here. Notice I didn't say, I'm sensing you're having a bad day. Something's wrong. You got a bad attitude. No, what do I want to feed? Right? But again, if I hadn't practiced thousands and thousands of times of doing this over 9 years now, I would have said the negative. That's natural. That's what everyone says. What's wrong with you? You got a bad attitude. Instead of saying, my love, are you okay? I sense that you're lacking peace.
Right.
I don't feel the connection between us that I normally do. That's sanctuary language. So it's like amazing, right? It is. When I hear it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it blows my mind. But it's because of the practice. I'm not some specialist. I'm an expert now because we've done it so much. Of course I am an expert in sanctuary language. But it's just the reality of it changes the way you look at things. It changes the situation, circumstances, because you have a contrast now.
Yes.
The world gives us plenty of negativity, but what do we contrast it with? We don't really have much to contrast it with. When you've been practicing every day, now all of a sudden you have something you can fall back on. Yeah, we can face something, but it doesn't have to last like it used to for days and days, right? And weeks and months where we're in chaos for all that time and frustrated. No, it can last for maybe a few minutes, maybe an hour, and be like back and be like, okay, how can we create connection again?
Yeah.
There's something disrupting the environment. Something is off in our sanctuary, Megan. Like, let's connect. Let's walk through this. I don't feel like it. That does happen sometimes. And I just laugh, and then she laughs because it's like a blast, and it's funny because we don't act that way. So it's so weird to hear like something like that. I don't feel like working this out or whatever. That we laugh, and then it's just over. Like the whole state changes in our mind through laughter. But how can we laugh at something like that? Because it's so weird to hear us speak negative things.
Right.
I'm not saying it never happens, but when it does, it's almost comical because of the contrast.
Those things that used to be our default
Yeah.
are now awkward.
They are.
So it's funny because when those old habits resurface, it's this weird like, wait, what?
What did you just say? What?
But that's the compound effect, right? Like that's the result of daily routines. That's the result of the habitual exercises that we do, the things that we do that is consistent and persistent. Like we can be traveling, it doesn't matter where we are in the world, we are consistent because why? We know what our foundation is. We know what creates the atmosphere, what is our greenhouse, right? Our sanctuary. Doesn't matter if we're home or somewhere else in the world.
Yep.
Our sanctuary is where we are.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So
Can we create peace everywhere we go? Bring that peace.
Yes, you
Bring the
do.
love, bring the love.
Yes, you do.
Thank you. We received that. And the one product, even this morning, there was conversation in our home, And my precious 11-year-old rocks my world. I'm just crying listening to her talk. I'm like, what the heck? So many times people meet her and they're like, isn't she like 17 or 18? We're like, so we begin to realize that the abundance, the maturity has come from the sanctuary too, that her being in this in 9 years, like it's accelerated her where she is a business owner. She has an incredible mind. Like doesn't want to go to school, to the regular school. She wants to be homeschooled so she can have a business, so she can travel, so she can speak, so she can sing, like all these crazy things. We're like, whoa.
You know, it's interesting, like something that recently I've noticed in when we do our gratitudes and worthies is, you know, Carlos and I have a goal of eradicating divorce, of changing and transforming lives. You know, I mean, that's part of our mission, our vision. And I would say probably the last 3 months in her worthies, when she's speaking over herself, she's saying, we're worthy of changing and transforming lives. She knows that she's a part of that. She knows that she has the influence to help people transform. She knows that her speaking gratitudes and worthies over random strangers or people she meets in communities, different communities all over the world, she knows that she has the power to, with her tongue, change and transform somebody's life, to speak life into them, to pull life out of them, to encourage them to dream. And that's really profound. That's just a recent, I guess, sprout.
And it's like a byproduct.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
It's a byproduct. It's not like we knew this would happen. I mean, this is all new to us too. Don't get us wrong. We're seeing the results. We're seeing the fruit that comes out of it because we're creating that atmosphere constantly. Repetition. Always say we're hypnotizing ourselves for life and honor and blessing. We're hypnotizing ourselves with the fruits of the Spirit.
Yes.
So
Yes.
It works.
Yeah. And I think too, like in the beginning, you guys were talking about how it's so different when you hear that negativity from one another, right? So in the beginning, it's going to be and for me, you know, it was very uncomfortable. And I would almost kind of get this really weird, uncomfortable feeling when I'd go to give the gratitude to my husband or my daughter that was not speaking to me respectfully, right? And that when I would speak that to them, I would sometimes laugh, sometimes I'd be angry, you know, not in angered voice, but inside I was kind of like, oh gosh, you know, or this is stupid, or no, like just keep going, because a little sprout from us, my daughter, who, you know, our life was, you know, we weren't close or anything, and I mean, loving, you know, of course we loved each other, but I picked her up for the hurricane, and the whole way back she was just telling me everything, and she's like, Mom, she just left for college this year, and she was like, Mom, I'm thriving. And like I just started to cry, you know, and she goes, and then later on, you know, we were waiting for the storm, or I don't know what was going on, and it's all dark, you know, so it's all dark. We're really protected, you know. So she goes, Mom and Dad, she goes, when I was thinking in the summer about finding an internship somewhere different. Would you mind if like I went to Boston, or if I went to California or somewhere and found an internship to do? And I was like, you can go wherever you want. You can do whatever you want to do. This is your life. This is your dream. Go for it. You know, like it was so cool to see that my 17-year-old daughter believes enough in herself to go and do things and believe that she can do things that other people have not done, right? Like you guys want $1 billion industry. You want to stop divorce. You guys are going after something because you believe in it, not because you saw somebody else do it. So it's powerful and it's amazing. And I thank you guys so much, seriously, for everything that you do in our community, that you do for others, for your family, and being that example for everybody. Seriously, thank you guys so much for doing this today. And we look forward to seeing you next month.
Yes, and by the way,
I'm sorry?
we're very grateful for you. You are
You kind of faded out. I can't hear you.
We're very grateful for you, Francine. You are a powerful leader, an amazing example. I'm grateful for your heart and your compassion and your love to see lives change. I'm grateful for the fact that you help be that example of what it looks like to push through the obstacles of life and the pain of sickness and illness, and yet you champion that to become out the other side winning. I'm grateful for that example. I'm grateful for the leader and the message that you are carrying to the nations. And Francine, you are worthy of seeing transformation in lives around you. You're worthy of seeing your health go to a new level of being completely healthy and strong and free of any illness or disease. You are worthy of being the icon in the understanding of life and the icon in what it takes to survive. You're worthy of seeing other lives come through a champion just like you. You're worthy of greater connection with family and friends and relationships. And you are worthy of seeing your daughter succeed in everything she does. We love you, Francine.
Love you guys too. And together, you know, I'm sorry.
You're worthy of thriving in each and every relationship, from your marriage to your family to everyone you come in contact with. You're worthy of seeing lives changed and transformed. You're worthy of thriving in your health, your wealth, your emotional, physical, spiritual body. You're worthy of just feeling as he created you to be, whole, complete, lacking in nothing, courageous. You're worthy of feeling victorious in all that you do. We love you and we appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you. You guys.
You received that?
Yes, I do. I received that. Really. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you guys very much. And we will be together again next month. And yeah, and everybody check out Peculiar Sanctuary with Carlos and Chantel. And we will definitely be back together next month. Love you guys. Thank you.
Love you. Thank you.